Let's try this out. It works. Hey y'all, my name is Destiny. Welcome to my channel, Des on Purpose. If you are here, it is my very first video. Kind of big deal for me. This channel is going to be all about holistic living. So I will cover topics on physical, emotional, mental health, and wellness with a strong emphasis on spirituality. In short, I'm sharing my individual journey to becoming happy, healthy, and whole with anyone who's willing to watch. I'm a nurturer. I love to support and inspire and uplift other people, especially women. So I'm hopeful that my experiences on this channel can be enlightening to someone else who may be on their own wellness journey. Now, for the purposes of today's video, how did I get here on YouTube? So why is Des on Purpose even a thing? Good question, because anybody who knows me well knows that I do not like stuff like this. I'm a pretty private person. I have a very small circle of friends. I am overly particular about who I share my personal business with. You're not gonna hear about me out in the streets. I don't roll like that. And I don't really care to be the center of attention, like ever. If you would have told me a year ago I would be sitting here starting a YouTube channel, but I digress. All that to say, I am here, so there's a backstory to that. I'm going to try to make it short because I know I'll be rapping, but to get started, we will have to go back to the end of 2019. 2019, I was in a long-term relationship for about 4 years with a man I absolutely adored. I had just transitioned to a new job that I was super pressed about, like press, Cardi don't need more press, like that pressed. And my homegirl was moving to a new city, so I had to get a new apartment, and I got not one, but 2 new roommates. Overall, 2019 was a good year for me. Let me preface with that. It was not bad by any means. However, as the year progressed, I was not in the best place mentally, emotionally, physically, all the things, right? I wasn't happy. I was frustrated. If you know anything about emotional intelligence, self-awareness is one of the key components of it. I am, and I've always been pretty self-aware, too self-aware. So I recognized I was going through a lot internally, and I needed to recenter myself. My relationship was stagnant. My dream job ended up being like the job from hell. It was trash. And I did not like the place I was living in or my roommates at the time. There were other stressors too, but those were the key factors for me. Now remember, I'm self-aware. So I thought to myself, self, you gotta get it together. And that was my plan, that in December, when I had vacation time, that I was gonna do a mental reset, so that I could begin a new job search. I could start focusing on fixing the problems in my relationship, the problems I was responsible for. I would get back into my fitness, my healthy eating, blase, all of the things. And everything would be fabulous after that, right? Wrong. The week before Thanksgiving, actually, my boyfriend broke up with me. For me, it was unexpected. I knew that things were bad. I guess in my mind, I hadn't conceived that they were that bad, that we were not going to be together. He was my main support system back then, so needless to say, I lost my shit. I went into the new year filled with pessimism, but trying to force optimism because I had to move forward. This is me in Times Square on New Year's Eve, looking like I'm living my best single life. And I was heartbroken, y'all, but I was on the path of fake it till you make it, right? Fake it until it's real. A flash forward to 2020. Before the world went into a frenzy, those first few months for me were okay. I'm doing everything I can to get over old boy, going clubbing with my friends. I'm hitting the gym. I'm listening to podcasts. I got a new tattoo. I dyed my hair black. I got some new clothes. I'm job searching and still getting my bag, right? I'm pushing through full throttle. And then quarantine. Just like that, the world stopped for all of us, of course. Initially, though, your girl was feeling it. Back when we thought it was only gonna be a week, 2 weeks of a thing, I was all for it. I'm like, you want me to stay in the house? Cool, I'm a homebody anyway, not a big problem. My mood went way up. I'm spending time reading, writing, meditating, working from home, obviously. It was all good until it wasn't all good. We all know in the US, quarantine started in March, the beginning of March. May rolled around and my vibe took a nosedive. I began to feel isolated because I was. My roommates had both moved out, both of them. And I didn't mind being there by myself because I wasn't close to them, but I grossly underestimated how much I would be affected by the limited social interaction. Straight up, I got a Google Home just so that I had somebody to speak out loud to in my house. My sister laughed at me, but I was going stir crazy, okay? Then we had the murder of George Floyd. And as a member of the Black community, you get bogged down by that type of news. It doesn't matter how it happens or who it happens to, just the fact that it happens at all swiftly, easily, repetitively, without a thought, let alone a second one. Knowing that it could have been you, your brother, your best friends, it hurts. So with that, my mental health took another hit. My job. Many of my stressors were relieved once we shifted to the work from home format, but it also created a different type of tension between my supervisor and myself. Things escalated over a few weeks and we had a dispute via phone, and it was extreme. I was ready to quit on the spot. If I didn't have bills, I would have quit. That's how serious it was to me. My entire career, I had never felt that disrespected and degraded by somebody else. And the cherry on top, you guessed it, I was still grieving my failed relationship. This was also around the time where I needed to find another place to live. Y'all, I have been living in the DMV area for 7 years. I have moved 6 times, hella times. Luckily, I was able to get a wonderful place that I'm in now. It's in my price range, but regardless of that, moving is taxing. In summary, I was depressed. I moved into my house around June 26th, I want to say. I remember being home on my birthday 2 weeks later. In my room, lights off, curtains closed, lying in bed, buried beneath the covers with my eyes swollen shut from all of the tears I had cried the night before. All I could think about was the life that I'd envisioned for myself a year prior and how I was nowhere near living that in reality. I've struggled with low self-esteem since I was a child. 2020 was when I hit rock bottom, the lowest of the low, because I just felt lost, and not just in the sense that I didn't know what to do with my career because I was unhappy with that. That definitely was on my mind too, but I was questioning the meaning of life. Mine specifically, I thought, I don't have a man, I don't have a career I love, I'm lonely. My identity was wrapped up so tightly in those things that without them, I didn't know who I was. Like, why am I here? What is my purpose here on this earth? Through July to December, I spent time pondering on that question, and thankfully, I began to let myself heal too. I got a therapist, I went on anxiety medication, I rediscovered self-care and hobbies. I still couldn't really see my family and close friends in person often, but I did make a point to connect with them in ways that felt more meaningful for me. And with the second year at my job, I set new standards for how I would and would not be treated by my boss and my coworkers. And that made a world of difference to me too. More than anything though, and I cannot stress this enough, I just got comfortable being alone. For someone that has deep-seated abandonment issues, the fact I could be on my own 98% of the time and genuinely be okay with that was huge for me. As 2020 was concluding, I could see changes in myself. They were slight, but there. My word for last year was intention. And rather than setting a new goal, I felt it was necessary to carry that theme into 2021. So here we are, clearly. 2021 isn't over yet, but when I say these first 6 months have been life-altering, I mean exactly that. Emotionally, physically, mentally, I was headed in the right direction. I had and have every intention of continuing on that path. But January 3rd or 4th of this year, a YouTube video, yes, YouTube, changed everything. Sidebar, in 2020, I had a stint where I was really into the law of attraction. Because of that, I occasionally had that type of content popping up in my recommendations. But in January, it was a video about prayer that found me. I hadn't been looking for anything related to spirituality and definitely not prayer. It was just there. And I clicked it and I listened. And it was a video about praying. Praying what? Intentionally. My word of the year. I'll link the video in the description box if I can find it. I can't remember off the top of my head right now who did the video. I just know that I really liked it. Now, I was raised in a Christian household. My mom brought us up in the church, but my siblings and I got older, and as most millennials do, you decide for yourselves what you believe in and what you don't, on multiple levels. I've always believed in God, but over time I stopped adhering to traditional Christian religious practices. Though anyway, this praying video sparked my spiritual journey. This video inspired me to begin praying again. I wasn't praying for blessings. I was praying to get to know God. And that was a foreign concept to me before this year. I'm not lying. Like I said, I told y'all I was raised in a Christian household, but this was new to me. This was new for me. After this, I felt inspired to download a Bible app so that I could read daily scriptures in the morning before work. After that, I'm watching YouTube videos on more content related to hearing from God. I'm creating worship playlists on Spotify. I bought a brand spanking new Bible. I began decoding my dreams from a biblical standpoint. I completed a 30-day Daniel fast. Y'all, nobody told me. Let me just start by saying this. Nobody told me I needed to find Jesus again. Nobody said, you should talk to God. Not even my mama. And my mama loves Jesus, y'all. This happened so organically that I can't attribute it to anything else other than God's divine timing for me. God stripped me of my romantic relationship, of a job I could obsess over, and opportunities to be in the world living it up like we all do. He literally separated me from everything and everyone My new house, my place that I'm in, was the wilderness. Like, I felt like the Israelites when I'm starting to read, like, whoa, this is me. And I was there in the wilderness, not for punishment, for refinement, to become a better me. God had to take away all of the noise in my life, all of the distractions, so I could finally learn to hear his voice in ways I'd never experienced before. The past 6 months, I've maintained my hobbies, my self-care. I'm able to go out with friends again. I've made some new friends. It's pretty cool. I'm getting more consistent with my fitness routine. That's still a work in progress, but I have a plan for advancing my career. All wonderful things. But none of those things gave me contentment. I realized I wasn't unhappy because of my boyfriend, my job, where I was living, or any of the other things that I wanted that I didn't have. I was unhappy because I idolized all of those things. I made a man, a career, a house, or lack thereof, my reasons for living, for being. And once those things were no longer present, I felt dead inside, hence the depression. I reconnected with God purposefully, consistently, when I gave him my fears, my doubts, my anger, my sadness, my bitterness. He gave me strength, confidence, joy, and above everything else, he gave me peace. I have never felt more like Des than these past 6 months. Getting to know God has helped me get to know myself, accept myself, and love myself. Truly, for the first time, my identity, my worth, it was never intended to be attached to anything or anyone else. And no one specifically told me I had to do that, but life, it wears you down and you learn things, and sometimes you get it wrong. I got it wrong, but now I know I'm a child of God, and that alone makes me more than enough. God gets all the glory in my life. I am a new woman, mind, body, and spirit, because of the things he's revealed to me in these past 6 months. And if I can encourage one person to seek God or to learn how to love themselves a little better, then I've served my purpose here on this channel and probably here on my walk in this earth. And that's it. That's my why. Thank you for sticking around or listening to a snippet of my testimony. If you're interested in my journey, please show some love by liking this video and subscribing to my channel so that you can purposely see more of me. I'll catch you in my next upload, but until then, be blessed.